You asked for it. Here it is. It's a podcast from Apathetic Enthusiasm.
I really do feel like at the beginning of every one, we should all take a deep breath. Everyone needs that throughout the day. Take a deep breath.
Yeah, we do. Yep. Breathe in, breathe out, everybody.
Breathe in, breathe out.
You've got a new episode of Real Relationships, Our Real Relationships.
With Brandon and Chelsea.
And I'm Brandon.
And I'm Chelsea.
Oh, what do you
Shocker.
Oh, geez. This is going to be a good episode. Welcome, everybody.
Welcome.
Man.
I really do want our new thing to be that we start with a nice, deep breath, and maybe we wouldn't do it in the middle, and maybe we do it at the end, just to remind everyone to fucking breathe.
Yeah. We probably don't need to cuss when we tell people to breathe, though.
Sorry, fucking breathe in.
And
fucking breathe out.
I'm going to relax, but stop cussing at me.
You know, sometimes it's relaxing to cuss.
That's true. There's that coloring book. It's like
I have one with cuss words in it for
sure.
sure.
Yeah, that's what I was referencing. Yeah, that's cool.
For sure.
Thanks
Welcome.
for listening.
And we're Brandon and Chelsea.
Yeah.
And this is Our Real Relationships, where we have relationships, and we have real relationships, and we have real relationships with you, and real relationships with movies.
That's right. The more you say it, the harder it becomes to do it
Real
without
relationships.
twisting your tongue. There's a few ways you can follow us. You can always send us a message on email, or send us an email to an email.
Yeah, sure.
You can send us a message on email.
Oof, we've already had a drink.
OurReelRelationships@gmail.com. You can send us a message over on Instagram, our real relationship.
Holy mackerel.
Jeez. Bluesky, RealRelationsPod.
The best thing to do is to call us at 555.
and then if you are watching this on YouTube, thank you, first of all, for watching this on YouTube.
Yes.
We try to comment on everybody who comments on our YouTube.
Robert.
And you know what? So far, we have nonstop been responding to everybody.
That's a lie.
No, I responded to Robert.
You did? Was it today after 2 weeks of him commenting?
No, it wasn't 2 weeks of commenting. It's like he watched 2 episodes in a row and was like, yeah, comment. And,
yes.
And yes, we responded
Robert,
to him.
my brother, was like, where's the engagement?
Our social media manager.
That's Brandon.
In a sense. Yeah. And then, of course, I'm at Barnyard Cruise on most platforms. And Chels to the Sea Cruise.
Chell to the Sea Cruise. Chell to the SEA Cruise.
That's right.
Yeah.
And that's about it. And if you're listening to this, thanks for listening to this. First of all,
if you're watching, you can tell by Brandon's accessories with his tie around his forehead that we watched Rambo. And I mean, sorry, there's no such movie called Rambo. This movie's called First Blood. It's not Rambo : First Blood. It's just First Blood. We watched First Blood.
And yeah, I've always thought of it as Rambo : First Blood.
I didn't even think of the First Blood part. That's why I think that the second Rambo, called First Blood Part 2, was even weirder to me, because I didn't even know there was a First Blood Part 1. But there is, and that's what we watched.
that's what we watched.
To celebrate Memorial Day.
Yeah. Celebrate.
Honor.
Yeah. I
acknowledge.
I've gotten into the habit of saying, hey, have a solemn Memorial Day. So it's like...
yeah, it's not a happy time.
Yeah,
for sure.
Like we do honor and celebrate the time we have together with those who are still with us. But, you know, there's people like, no, Veterans Day is celebration for our veterans, whereas Memorial Day is celebrating those who have passed serving our country. And that's why kind of we picked this movie to talk about. I think we'll get into it a little bit. But before we go any further, why don't we talk about this week's charity?
Yeah, that's why we chose this week's charity. It's the Wounded Warrior Family Support, WWFS.org. Right? Am I saying the right thing?
Yeah, you're correct.
So Wounded Warrior Family Support its program expense ratio, which is how much money goes exactly to the program, is 89%, which is pretty good. So they provide caregiver, respite, and mobility assistance, and family retreats, and vocational training for veterans and their families. Overall, they do wonderful things for our veterans.
That's right. That's right. Their mission statement is to provide support to the families of those who have been wounded, injured, or killed during combat operations. The families of our casualties suffer in many ways, some physically, some psychologically.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah.
All physically, I would say, and all psychologically. Everybody is feeling that blowback.
That's right. And you know, the folks that have that are gone, they leave behind family, friends, people that care about them. And so we want to make sure that we continue to support them.
For sure. And this actually was suggested to you. This particular charity was suggested to you by someone.
Yeah, I was actually hit up recently on LinkedIn about this organization. They were like, hey, you know, are there any opportunities to chat about our org on podcasts, interview, etc. And I said, well, you know, like maybe not an interview, but we're definitely going to highlight you on the show. And
well, so we could interview them for sure.
We could.
But they brought up who was it that brought up the Wounded Warrior Family Support?
Just someone who connected with me on
wonderful.
On yeah. So
well, shout out to them and thank you for the wonderful suggestion. It was a great suggestion, and that's why this week we will be donating to them. See, the movie came out in 82.
Mm-hmm. Happy birthday.
Yes, as Brandon and I also came out in 82. So we are 43 just about, and the movie's 43, so we will be donating 43 doll hairs to the Wounded Family Support.
Wounded Warriors,
thank you.
Support.
Wounded Family Support.
Yeah.
That's my family. Wounded Warrior Family Support. Yes, $43.
Yeah, so wwfs.org. Head out there. Yeah, so you know, this movie, Rambo: First Blood. Let's go ahead and get into it by starting off with our cocktail.
Yeah, let's do it.
I thought about this. And this one was an easy one.
Oh, was it?
It was for me. It was super easy. I didn't have to ask any advice. It just came naturally.
Because when we were watching the movie, I was thinking, wonder what cocktail he's going to choose for this. Is it going to be some jungle juice? Is it going to be some kind of British Columbian something or other? Or it's filmed in British Columbia, but it's supposed to take place in Washington State. But what did you choose, sir?
Well, as you know, this movie is called First Blood. So why not have a First Bloody Mary?
It's a classic.
It's our first Bloody Mary on the show.
And our first Bloody Mary of the day.
That's right.
We held off from having one at lunch. We met up for lunch and we had a margarita, which is why I'm so tired. So that's when my glasses are on so that I can see things far away.
Chelsea was going to order a Bloody Mary. And I said, no, don't do it. We're going to have that later.
These straws, by the way, are crap.
They suck. Yeah. All I got was air.
You're already 3 years away.
Yeah.
They're like recycled straws and all this kind of thing. And they are terrible. But I'm glad to recycle, but make better straws, recycle people.
So for this cocktail, I mixed
spicy.
I just mixed tomato juice with regular vodka, also some green chili vodka, celery salt, Tabasco, and a little dash of pico pica.
Hachi machi. Good thing I have my water right over here.
That's good that you have your water right there.
Because it is spicy. So, Rambo First Blood. It's not called Rambo First Blood, just First Blood. First Blood, rated R, released in 1982. Based on a novel that I didn't know until I was researching by David Morrell, which was 1972.
Oh, okay.
So that was that guy's debut novel. And from what I understand, the book is quite a bit darker.
Yeah. I don't. There's only a few facts I know about.
Ice.
About the. There's only a few facts I know about the book, and it's mostly
about
the ending. Which
we can spoil it. It's been out for 50 years.
I don't want to jump right to the ending. Let's talk about the ending towards the ending of the
Oh,
episode.
okay.
Yeah. I don't want to like be like, oh, now you know what the ending's like, so now stop listening.
The ending of the book, but now I might read it actually because I never knew it was a book before. By David Morrell.
Yeah. Of course, Sylvester Stallone stars in this movie. Richard Crenna is in this, which always reminds Chelsea of a Friends episode.
Friends episode where she rhymes Emma with Crenna.
That's right. Phoebe, played by Phoebe Cates.
Oh, good thing we're not doing a Friends podcast. You lose.
And then
directed by
Ted Kotcheff. Who what is Bulgarian? His name comes from Bulgaria?
Is. His actual name is Velichko Todorov, and it's Kotcheff, but it's not really. They changed it to Kotcheff from something else. But he directed Of Mice and Men in 1968. Okay. He also directed Fun with Dick and Jane and from 1977.
Oh.
And my favorite fact is that he directed Weekend at Bernie's. Oh my gosh. Can we get a Weekend at Bernie's Rambo crossover? Let's go.
Let's
go.
Do it. What holiday is Weekend at Bernie's?
I don't think they have an actual holiday. I think they're just weekend at the beach.
It's just a vacation weekend.
Yeah.
At Bernie's.
It's not them like fighting the forces of the small beach town.
Yeah, it's like spring break at Bernie's too.
But think of that. He did this in 82 and then Weekend at Bernie's in 89, which is an amazing movie.
Yeah.
And nothing like it. And we will do Weekend at Bernie's one of these days where we talk about it in full. But
we will. And we'll do 2 years in a row. Like we'll do Weekend at Bernie's 1 and then we'll do the Weekend at Bernie's that I like more, which is Weekend at Bernie's.
I don't even know if I've ever seen Weekend at Bernie's.
It's the one where he's like voodoo.
Oh, I have seen that. You're right. Okay. Which Rambo First Blood Part 2. No voodoo.
No,
just in Weekend at Bernie's.
Poor Kotcheff. Yeah, and then the person who plays Teasel. What was his?
Sergeant Teasel, or Sheriff Teasel, Brian Dennehy.
Brian Dennehy, yes, of FX fame.
What?
He's in the movie FX.
Oh, okay. I don't even know.
And FX too.
When you say that, I just think of that movie that you like with Weird Al in it.
Oh, UHF?
Yes, that's the movie I think of. Sorry, I don't know FX. I just know him from Cocoon. Hello. Tommy Boy. Hello.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
He voiced Remy's dad in Ratatouille. Hello.
You're quoting that one alien from that Rick and Morty episode where they're like going from planet to planet. They're all getting destroyed. And, hello. Played by Stifler's mom.
Oh, thank you. I wish I were more like her. But so yes, Brian Dennehy is the sheriff. He's a big, hefty, barrel-chested man.
Yeah. So if you have not seen First Blood, I think the first thing that is like important to note is when you think of Rambo, what do you think of, Chelsea?
It took me a long time before I realized that it was about a war veteran. I just thought it was some guy in the woods fighting off other guys, but it's a veteran Green Beret, and he gets insulted quite terribly by the small town sheriff played by Brian Dennehy, and it turns into a really intense manhunt when he gets out of their little small town jail.
For Rambo, for me,
your phone's ringing.
Oh my gosh, my phone's ringing. Oh, it's account services. I think I saw Rambo 3 before I ever saw any of the other Rambos. I remember playing the Rambo video games before I ever actually watched a Rambo movie. So like Rambo on the NES, which I think is based off of First Blood Part 2. And then the Sega Master System had Rambo, and that was based off of Rambo 3. And so I always remembered Rambo as being like, you got a machine gun and you're fighting a war somewhere. And it wasn't maybe until I was after I was 18, I was in the military already, where I actually watched First Blood and I was like, oh, okay, this movie is not what I thought it was.
No,
going
it's
to
a
be.
lot more. It's a lot more. Has a lot more depth.
Yeah, yeah. Like between this and then First Blood Part 2, they were like, this is about something.
It is.
And First Blood Part 2 felt, well, let's go ahead and make it exploitative a little bit more. And then they went that route.
Can I just interrupt to say that I feel like that could be a blurb for any movie. This movie is about something.
Yeah, well,
that's how I feel like true. I take part in the conversation. When like, have you seen that? I'm like, yeah, it's about something.
Have you seen Spy Kids 2?
It's really about something.
But Spy Kids 3D,
it is also about something.
Exploitative. So yeah, Rambo was an action star type of thing for me growing up. But First Blood is not. It has action in it, but that's not what it's about, right?
No, it's about psychological. It's about PTSD.
Yeah, yeah,
and about the trauma of a war veteran.
Right, and so Rambo, John Rambo. The movie starts out not about any of this action stuff. Not about running into the woods. Nope. He's like going to visit somebody who was in his platoon.
He's got his happy face on.
Yeah, he's like he's happy. He's like, I'm gonna go see.
Let's go see Delmar.
Oh, Delmar, he's gonna be so excited. I can't wait to see him.
I can't wait to see Delmar. I'm excited at this point in the movie.
And then like he shows up and these two women are hanging clothes on the clothesline, and he's looking for Delmar. He's awfully close to them, by the way. It's like,
oh, he was in their personal space.
Yeah, I'm like, back up, Rambo.
Is that your knife, or are you just happy to see me?
I don't want to wash that, sir. And find out that Delmar had passed away from cancer.
Ugh, and Delmar's gone.
We find out that Delmar is like the last person from his unit. That Rambo is the last person.
Now he is, yeah.
And so that takes us then to when he starts walking through town. He's a drifter. He's got no place to be, no place to go. He's just wandering. He wanders across the bridge into this town where he meets Mr.
Brian Dennehy.
Sheriff Teasel.
Sheriff Teasel. Mm-hmm. That's an interesting name I always think of that, I wonder how people who are writing a book or the movie, how they choose the character names for people. So Teasel, it sounds like Weasel. I don't know, but Teasel is it's kind of cutesy. Doesn't sound like a big tough sheriff. Brian Dennehy seems like a big tough sheriff.
Yeah. What's interesting to me about his character at the start, when you first meet him, before you know anything about him, if this movie wasn't called First Blood, it would just be like he's almost like Fargo, like where he's just like wandering, like he's introduced walking out of the sheriff's station and saying hi to everybody. Mm-hmm. Hey, make sure you take a shower, stuff like that. And then I'm like, oh, he's not too bad a guy.
Yeah, he seems like a good guy.
He's not too bad a guy at all.
And he probably is a good guy.
And then he immediately sees Rambo and starts treating him like shit.
Well, so to back up a little bit, how people choose names, I did read that not Ted Kotcheff, the guy who wrote the book, David Morrell, how he came up with Rambo was Rambo apples from Pennsylvania. That the brand of apples was called Rambo, and he thought that sounded tough. So I think that's kind of cute.
That is
because they probably named them Rambo apples because it sounds like rainbow. But they're Rambo.
I don't think his intent was to have it be cute.
No, I know, but
it's supposed to be tough.
Like people who name the apples,
yeah,
like these are Rambo apples. That sounds like cute. It sounds like rainbow. And then he's like, Rambo sounds tough. I'm gonna name my guy Rambo. He's named after apples.
So let us know in the comments. Is it tough or is it cute to be called Rambo at this point?
Well, now it's tough, but before 1982, it's cute.
But if you shut your brain off, you're like, is Rambo cute? He's kind of cute to me.
He is. I saw his butt, and it was real cute.
Yeah. So would you think of Sheriff Teasel throughout the movie?
He seems like a jerk, I guess. But then I read a little bit about the way that Brian Dennehy was trying to play his character, Sheriff Teasel, as someone who is good at his job, but just did a bad job that day. So it does seem like he knows the town. He knows what to do. He's a good sheriff. Things went wrong that day. I don't know the book, but I also read that he was trying to play it as like maybe he was a Korean War veteran and he just maybe didn't get the younger generation of soldiers. So I don't know if that's in the book or not.
Yeah, I wonder. Like, I think because we don't see that aspect. He never mentions being in the military when he interacts with Colonel Troutman in the latter half of the movie.
Richard Crenna.
Rich Grant. He doesn't really talk about like being in the chain of command or being in the military at all.
No.
So it
and he's almost like making fun of military stuff.
Yeah.
So he doesn't feel militant.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't feel like he was ever in the military.
You're right.
But if there was like a comment or if there was like a note in there, if they'd put it in there, then it would kind of add some context to this idea that John Rambo went to Vietnam, Green Beret, a new type of soldier, a different type of soldier, right? Versus like the Korean War is more straightforward kind of World War II warfare. Vietnam, as we see in this movie, like Rambo is more guerrilla warfare, traps and stuff like that.
Yes.
And so like the World War II, Korean War is like send everybody out and just en masse, right? Just go charge that hill.
I don't know anything about any of the wars. So you go. You keep talking.
Yeah. So I would be able to see that difference of being like, okay, that's you young whippersnapper
yeah,
soldiers.
and trying to explain it to Dexter did watch this movie and trying to explain, like, he was wondering why is he being so mean to Rambo.
Yeah.
And so we were trying to explain a little to him, and I used up the extent of my knowledge in explaining to him people didn't like that America was at Vietnam, and so they didn't like the soldiers that came back. That was the extent of my knowledge.
Yeah, it's hard for me to understand. Vietnam. A lot of people were against the war. Obviously we were born in '82, so Vietnam was long gone by the time. Well, I mean it's still there, but the war.
Vietnam still exists. Yes.
The armistice is there.
But when we were born, everything else ceased to exist.
That's right.
And we were the main focus.
And all we know is Vietnam in the media, like Platoon. I don't know, like the young folks, they saw it on TV. Young folks at the time, they watched it on TV because this was the first war that was like kind of televised. They had the combat operators there on the ground. They were showing the feeds back home, and so the public sentiment went against it. So I know, like, Woodstock and those types of things, they were against the war.
What year was Woodstock?
1, 2, 3. What are we fighting for? Shoot.
I could Google it while you're talking.
Yeah. I don't know the folks who were in the Korean War and World War II. I don't know how they felt about that. And I'd be interested. I should have looked it up. I should have talked to it. If my grandpa were still alive, I'd probably ask him because he was in the Korean War.
Who?
My grandpa.
Which one?
You
have one.
Oh,
the
no,
Korean one? You don't have one. You don't have a Korean grandfather.
My grandpa Cruz was a Marine in the Korean War.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know that. I just knew he was a Boy Scout leader.
Yeah, he's got a brick out there in Cimarron, Mexico, for the Veterans Memorial.
Oh, duh! Wasn't Woodstock 1969?
Oh yeah,
duh. Woodstock 69. I think that in the movie, I know it was filmed in 82, but I think it was supposed to be like he was gone from like 68 to 72 or some
like
such
that.
thing,
Yeah,
because the
right.
book was in 72. So I think that's kind of the vibe he was going for, that he was in Vietnam for 4 years.
So like if I knew the context of like the different generations, that might have made more sense to me. Maybe if I was this age in 1982, maybe they'd be like, okay, yeah, I can see the difference of perspective.
God, I wish I could do something important so I could look down on the next generation. But I haven't done that yet. Eventually.
Eventually.
I will say that Ted Kotcheff, he was directing a fundraiser to protest apartheid, and an American flag caught fire, and then he wasn't allowed back into the United States for 4 years after that.
Jeez.
I know. So I think he was allowed back in like 76 or something like that.
You mentioned American flags. The American flags for some reason stuck out to me for the whole movie. Like Rambo,
he's wearing one.
He's the jacket he's wearing has the American flag right up front.
Mm-hmm.
It's there on his chest, not on over his heart, but on the right side of his chest. It's there, like he's American, like he's
and the sheriff says, wearing that you're gonna get hassled around here, like wearing the flag.
Yeah,
that seems so crazy.
And the sheriff has the flag, the American flag, also on, like all the cops have the American flag on their shoulders. And I was just thinking, like, it's obvious that Rambo and the cops are on the same side.
Yeah, they love America.
They love America. They've done things for America, and yet they are infighting.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Over something as silly as a vagrancy and Rambo turning around on the bridge.
Just don't want him in my town. Why? Because he got that long hair, long-haired hippie.
He got that long, pretty hair, boy.
He does.
And he smells.
Apparently. But to me, when I was watching it, I'm like, he probably smells like Old Spice. I don't know. He just looks like he smells like Old Spice.
That's what dirt smelled like back in the 80s was Old Spice.
Oh, back in the good old days when it smelled like Old Spice.
Some people smelled like garlic and other random shit. No, Old Spice.
So Sylvester Stallone, he had a hand a little bit in writing this movie.
Mm-hmm.
When it first, I think the first cut was over 3 hours long.
Jeez.
And he did not like it. I think he thought he was in it too much or something like that. And he offered to buy it so that he could trash it. He hated it so much.
Interesting.
So they cut like 93 minutes from the movie. So now it's at like a 96-minute, like an hour and a half running time.
Did it say like what things it cut from the film?
I think he thought he was monologuing too much in it or something.
Oh, yeah, that's cool. That's cool because I like that the end of the movie, like he doesn't talk a lot.
He doesn't talk a bunch.
He's very solemn. He's very introverted or reserved, withdrawn.
Mm-hmm.
And
he's focused.
It's impactful that when he finally opens up at the end of the movie,
I know.
That's when he's monologuing.
You guys, he cries.
He cries.
Oh,
he cries.
He cries so good.
He breaks down, and like if that's the change that Stallone put into it to make that.
Apparently, he's a good writer. What?
Yeah, he was.
I know. He had already done, I think, Rocky 1 through 3 at this point.
Yeah.
So, and we know that
Rocky
did
was
those
76 or something like that.
Something like that, yeah. But he also, and Stallone did direct the Rambo that was in 2008.
Yeah.
And that one, incidentally, has the most kills. The most kills.
Yeah.
So they say in this one, in First Blood, that
there's like an M60. He's just like shooting it right into his face.
There's 0 confirmed kills, they say, in this movie, but I'm going to say wrong because we saw at least 1 dead cop on the rocks. So many things blew up. Somebody had to die around there. So I'm saying I'm just going to say there's at least 2 dead bodies in First Blood.
There's at least 2 dead bodies, but
not 0.
But confirmed kills, right? Like he didn't kill them directly.
Okay. On purpose.
On purpose. So
but when he's going around blowing up the town, he might have been responsible for a death or 2.
Yeah, but Dennehy evacuated everybody out of the town. So
we don't know that they followed them.
There was nobody in the town.
We don't know.
That's how you know it wasn't confirmed. So you can't say it's a confirmed kill.
Oh my God, he's throwing stuff. He's so sad.
You can't confirm. So
I think that the number of deaths in the Rambo that he directed had like 254 deaths in it.
But for this one, we know of only one. Well, his buddy died.
Galt.
And all his team died. But Galt is the only one who actually dies on camera.
Well, all his team didn't even die. They didn't.
No, they're all dead.
Oh, according to...
They're all dead. He said they're all gone.
Oh, his unit.
Yeah, they're all gone.
Yes, but not the people who are chasing him. Not the sheriffs.
When I say his, I'm talking about the Rambo.
Okay, we're going to have to be more specific because there are a lot of he's in this movie. And I don't think I counted a single she.
Sure. So, Rambo.
No girls.
He doesn't kill anybody. But the one kill that we do see is that Galt. And he's a guy, he's such a dick.
Yeah.
He's the one who is pushing Rambo, hits him in the back of the knees.
He's the one that really draws first blood because he's the first one to hit Rambo for no reason.
And then he is the only person to die on camera because he's in a helicopter shooting at Rambo while he's hanging off of a cliff.
Yeah.
And then Rambo jumps off, lands in a tree, scratches his arm, and then throws a rock at the helicopter.
Scratches his arm. Scratches it? No. He splits that sucker. He has to sew it back together. But I heard him when he falls off that cliff and he falls down the trees. I heard him go, Jesus. He was not having a good time falling down that tree.
Sylvester is actually like, come on, guys, this sucks. Maybe can we make this runtime shorter?
Jesus.
And so Rambo is getting shot at by this Galt guy. And then he throws a rock. He picks up the rock and throws it at the helicopter. The rock hits the windshield.
Nice aim.
And the helicopter pilot's like, oh, I'm scared of a rock. And starts
It knocks off his wind conduction.
Yeah. And he kind of jerks the handle around, and then Galt falls out of the helicopter.
Mm-hmm.
Landing on the rocks below.
Not even a splat. The sound it makes when it hits the rocks is so just like a dead body hitting the rock.
Yeah. Squelch.
Splark. We should write for movies where we just write the sounds where they hit the rocks.
And Rambo's down at the bottom, and he sews himself back up, and he's like, the Dennehy, all of them are on the ridge, and he's like, look, I'm done. I'm done. We don't need any more fighting. Just leave me alone. I'll walk away. And then they start shooting at him.
He says it a couple times. Yeah, let it go. But don't nobody want to let it go.
No, don't let it go.
That's one of the things I had written down while we were watching the movie. At what point do you think pride kicked in for Sheriff Teasel? At some point he arrests Rambo kind of in a dick way, where he's just like, please get out of my town. And then Rambo's like, yeah, all right. But then he drives him out of town. And as the sheriff is driving back into town, he sees Rambo turn around and start walking back into town, which I think is such an awesome, badass move. But so then he's like, all right, I'm going to arrest this guy, send him to my cops. My cops are going to do their business. Then he escapes. He beats up a couple of cops, which is the first bad thing Rambo does. But then at what point is he just like, okay, now I just the principle. I have to get this guy because he's beating me and I'm a man and he's a man and I have to be more of a man. And so I was like, at what point does he take it overboard, do you think?
I think he wants to take Rambo out. I think he wants to get Rambo. I think it's when Galt dies that he's like, okay, now, Galt was my friend.
Yeah, but then it's a revenge, not a pride thing.
Yeah. I guess there's parts of him. It's like he doesn't want to call the state police in, right? David Caruso is like, let's get the state police.
Right, David Caruso.
Let's get the state police in here, and that's when Brian Dennehy's like, no, we're not calling the state police because he killed Galt. This blah 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 blah. I'm gonna.
It's like Quint in Jaws when he tears out the radio and he's like, no, I'm gonna get this shark.
Yeah.
So, I felt like at some point, Sheriff Teasel was like, I just want to kill him. I just want to catch him just so I can say I caught him. He has no empathy. He has no... He's run out of logic at some point.
And I don't know when PTSD became a term.
Part of the medical dictionary.
Yeah, like shell shock and those types of things. But like we talk about Rambo, his first bad thing is him escaping the prison, and beating up those cops. They don't do it too much after he escapes, but really early on when he's in the police station, there are those handful of like just quick interstitials of like where he's remembering being
flashbacks,
tortured.
yeah.
He's in bad situations. When Caruso and them are trying to shave him, he's remembering the Viet Cong like cutting his chest, right?
Yeah.
He's been tortured. He's been damaged. When he first goes in the police station and they're trying to like get his thumbprint, and he's like sees the bars on the window, and it's just these like quick flashes of like him remembering what the bars look like in Vietnam.
So according to this,
he snaps.
It was 1980 that became an official diagnosis. Okay. But if this is going to go with the novel and take place in 1972, like the novel did, then that was not a thing yet.
Okay. So yeah, he snaps. So I always view that moment less of him being like, all right, fuck this, I'm out of here. And more of a, like, he is just in survival mode.
He is. They're after me, just like they were after me before.
Yeah, he's in survival mode. He's not thinking about. He doesn't kill him, thankfully, but he's just like, let me get out of here. I gotta get out of here. I gotta get away from everybody.
No, I understand that, but obviously I don't have any experiences that are even close to that. So, oh God, it's getting deep around here.
It's getting deep.
Let's lighten it up a little bit.
Can't wait to talk to Dexter.
Yeah, Dexter will have his little input. Do you want to take a break for that right here?
Yeah, let's do a
little clip.
Little quick break. Let's lighten it up with a little bit of Dexter talk right here. So what did you think of the movie? Like, this is one, like, we didn't make you watch the movie last week. This is maybe like the first serious movie that we wanted you to watch. What did you think of it?
I thought it was a pretty good movie. It was a pretty good action movie.
Yeah. Do you consider it an action movie, or do you consider it like a comedy?
Comedy.
Like, was it a horror? Was it a horror film?
No.
So action movie. What were the parts that jumped out to you? Like,
I mean, I didn't get jump scared.
What?
I didn't get jump scared, but
no, I know you didn't get jump scared.
Yeah. So none of the parts really
nothing jumped out at you. Okay.
Yeah, there we go. We got it. It's actually funnier that the joke didn't land for like a minute there.
Yeah, I'm mad at you. So which parts were interesting to you that you remember?
Parts that are just okay.
Dork. All right. That was Dexter talk, I think.
Yeah, he'll say something. He always does.
He always does.
A few fun things.
Yeah, fun. Let's get the fun thing.
Here's a fun
before
thing.
We bring it down again.
Richard Crenna has one of the best lines in the movie, in my opinion.
Okay.
He says, he's a man who's been trained to ignore pain, ignore the weather, blah, blah, blah. But then he says, he's a man who's been trained to eat things that'd make a billy goat puke. I'm like, what? What does that even, who wrote that? What does that mean? What would make a billy goat puke, do you think? And it distracted me for a few minutes after he said that.
I think billy goats would puke from a lot of things.
They eat everything.
No, they don't. That's a myth. We've talked about this.
Myth? Yeah.
It's a mythery. Because goats don't eat cans, they want to eat the paper, and people saw people eating,
and they like the taste of the glue or something that's on the paper.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, anyway, I just love that he says that. And then, of course, he parodied his character, Colonel Troutman, in Hot Shots Part 2,
yeah,
where he played Denton Walters. So Richard Crenna started in radio at age 11 as this like teenager on some radio show, and he played Walter Denton. Then they put him in Hot Shots Part 2 as Denton Walters because those Zaz guys, those Zucker Bros.
Let me tell you, he is such an overactor.
He's not a great actor. He's not.
Just everything he does, R.I.P. Richard Crenna.
I know.
Like, he's just like,
for a second I was gonna be like, is he dead? Oh yeah, no, he's
like,
he
everything he does is just so overreact. And Rambo will get you.
It seems like he could only play a military. He has a very military persona.
Yeah, like he moves his head so much after saying everything that he says,
and I feel like everything he says has one eyebrow up.
Yeah.
He was a last-minute replacement for Kirk Douglas, who quit one day before filming started.
Okay, maybe I can't give Richard Crenna too much shit then.
They had to feed him his lines for the first couple of days because Kirk Douglas wanted it to end with him killing Rambo, and then he's driving away, and it goes into the rearview mirror, and the rearview mirror tilts down, and he's wearing Rambo's headband. And they were like, no. And so then Kirk Douglas walked.
Huh.
So then they got in Richard Crenna. The rhymes with Emma. Just like in the Friends episode.
Spartacus. That's what they wanted.
That's why he's like, I want every movie to end with everyone yelling Spartacus. And they're like, Kirk, no. Get out of here.
Your son is a better actor than you.
Oh, I don't know if that's true or not. Well, call to action. Anybody give us your opinion? Who's better, Michael Douglas or Kirk Douglas?
Well, so on the ending, right? So the ending that was filmed, it's Rambo. He is in the police station. He's beaten Teasel.
Did he didn't kill him. He just sent him to the hospital.
Yeah. Shot him in the legs and stuff like that. And then Colonel Troutman just happens to be there. It's like, oh, hey, yeah, no, I knew this was going to happen. So here I am. And is like trying to convince Rambo to stop. That's when Rambo breaks down. He's like, they're all gone.
Ew.
And he's like crying. That's his monologue. Richard Crenna is not talking, so
he doesn't give a lot during that scene.
Yeah.
He doesn't look like he cares or that he's been through anything even close to what John Rambo has been through.
He's like Keanu Reeves in that scene. Like, he's a good actor because he's not talking.
No. I would say Keanu Reeves is an amazing actor when he's not talking. John Wick, oh my gosh, those are some amazing scenes.
So good.
But instead, it's just like, it looks like Richard Crenna is watching Sylvester Stallone rehearse. Like, give him some emotion, shed a tear, look upset. You were there too. You're there talking about, we all saw this stuff. We all saw it. But he doesn't ever look as affected as Sylvester Stallone does.
Yeah. That scene is
Plus, I can't picture him like being any kind of Green Beret.
No.
He doesn't look useful in any
he's
way.
He's a colonel. He doesn't do shit.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, Colonel friends out there. Yeah, like that
Colonel Schmernel.
That scene of Rambo breaking down, like it. I was not in combat 22 years of the Air Force and a little bit of the Space Force. So
No Space Force combat?
No. Aliens is a documentary.
Except for that time you went outside and yelled at the moon like Grandpa Simpson.
Old man yells at moon. So I didn't see that. I've know people who've been in those
yes.
situations, and like the pain that is in some of their hearts, and like that they take with them, that they aren't able to talk about. They don't, with their family and friends. It's there, and we people withdraw and they keep it to themselves.
Yes.
And then when it finally comes out, then it's like I know people like that, and
it's hard for me to just watch war movies because I know it was real, and so I just can't. And because I know there are people that really going through every emotion after having been in the military and having seen any kind of awful things. They don't have to have even been on the front lines. You can see awful things. Your uncle was a cook, right? And he saw awful things in the Marines.
Yeah.
And so it just
talk about my grandpa, right? And we have family that have been in those situations too. So, that is poignant to me when he opens up and he breaks down in that way.
Yeah.
The original ending, if you know the original ending of the book, correct me if I'm wrong, but so this one, Troutman takes Rambo and he arrests him. Rambo gets arrested and he gets escorted out.
Mm-hmm.
I think in the book, Rambo dies.
That is correct from what I understand.
Does Colonel Troutman kill him?
I don't know how he dies in the book. I just know that he does die, and then it's a lot darker and a lot more violent, and that Rambo is maybe not as sympathetic a character. He's a lot darker, just angry. So no, I haven't read the book yet, but I plan to.
Okay. Were there any details about the difference between them? Because I'm
sure there were, but I didn't read too much into this.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I might. Maybe we should do a book to film book club.
Do you know there was a Rambo cartoon in 1986?
Yeah.
About a PTSD war veteran and children. Well,
the 80s, look, a side note about 80s cartoons. 80s cartoons were full of cartoons from R-rated films that had no right being cartoons. Let's talk about sure, Ghostbusters, that was kind of iffy. Like it's cool. Let's turn Slimer into a protagonist.
He's helping the Ghostbusters, yeah.
Rambo. Then you have RoboCop.
Oh yeah,
the RoboCop
that was
cartoon.
A good cartoon.
Then you have the Toxic Avengers, right?
Like we can make anything into a cartoon. Just watch.
Just watch. Strawberry Shortcake, Care Bears, classic R-rated
those
film.
PTSD Care Bears.
Yeah.
One of them was called PTSD.
Yeah.
There was Lovey Lionheart, and there was PTSD Panda,
and there was Palmia.
That's no POW.
Yeah. Well,
and Mia missing it. I see.
Like
you did both.
Prisoner of War, Missing in Action.
Nice, Palmia. Oh, that would be a really good name for a character. Side note about Sylvester Stallone. I don't know if he's still the only person, but as of me reading this in 2000, or I read this thing about it being in 2010, he was the only person to have a box office #1 in 5 consecutive decades.
Huh.
Isn't that crazy? And when some people think of Sylvester Stallone, they kind of like, he's kind of cheesy and corny, and people are like, oh, he's not a great actor. But look at him go, folks. He's like, I don't care what you say about me, I'm a bajillionaire. And he was expelled from 14 schools by the time he was 13.
Yeah.
So I think he had a bit of Rambo and Rocky rebelliousness just in him.
Let me ask you a couple questions before we get going, Chelsea. First question. Stallone versus Schwarzenegger.
Stallone,
really?
Yeah.
Why? Why is that?
He seems like he would fight harder. I think Schwarzenegger would give up because he'd be like, my face. Don't hurt my face, my beautiful face.
Stallone was an expendable. Schwarzenegger was never.
He wasn't. You're right.
I think he was in one of the expendables.
But Stallone versus Statham, I don't know. Statham seems like he could.
Well, you want to make out with Statham, so.
I mean, I wouldn't say no.
He'd be like, I'm bald and British, so.
He's Cockney.
Yeah, I would go Schwarzenegger.
Really?
Yeah, I just think
he's like such a pretty bodybuilder, though. Like he feels like he would be like, be careful. I don't want to. Oh, I did read a thing about how Sylvester Stallone was like weightlifting competition, and he tore a pectoral muscle and had to get 160 stitches, and that's why one of his pecs is veinier than the other one, because he's just like trying to lift like 500 pounds or something like that, and just like tore like.
Yeah,
that's the sound it makes when your boob tears.
I just think Schwarzenegger would win because he's got that European aspect to him where he's like, I will kill you.
Yeah, but Stallone's Italian, man.
No, he's not real Italian. He's an American Italian.
Well, but still, he's Italian enough.
All right, so my second question is, you answered that wrong, but the second question I have is the headband. So the iconic Rambo headband, which I'm sporting on the video version of this.
And yours is a beautiful maroon.
Mm-hmm. It looks red.
Color of blood.
It looks red on camera. What is the headband about?
Yeah, the three of us, you, me, and Dexter, all noticed it. I mean, we all noticed it, but we all thought about noticing it at the same exact point in the movie. Dexter's the one that brought it up. Why does he wear that? And we're all like, well, I was just thinking that. Like, is it to keep his gorgeous hair out of his face? He has some beautiful hair. He doesn't want to get it cut. Is it?
Yeah, it's like
he has a piece of cloth that he's tearing up for certain things. He makes it into a cute little overcoat. He makes it into some fire.
A brooch. A pterodactyl.
He makes it into a fire holder. A torch. That's what it is. Makes it into a torch. But then he like wastes a strip of it just to tie it around his. Maybe he's just like, this makes me feel like when I was back. Maybe he just has that vibe. Like he's like, I wore a headband when I was in Vietnam, and that's what gets me in the Vietnam mode.
Yeah, I can understand.
Do you feel more ready to go to war with that tie around your forehead than you did before you put that tie around your forehead?
No.
Oh.
The way it is right now, like with part of the tie in front of my ear, it's like it's distracting.
He
like,
definitely has it in the front though, in the front of his ear.
Like why would he have it in the front?
Why
like,
not in the back?
I can understand, a hairband, a headband, like keeping the hair out of his face because he does have long hair, right? Mm-hmm. So I can understand that, but it feels like
But why didn't he just have a hair tie in his pocket?
It feels like a conscious effort to put the dangling part of the tie.
Oh, it came undone.
Oh,
you messed with it too much.
It feels like a conscious effort to put that part of the bandana in front of his ear.
And I will say this, if it were a girl in the lead, she would not have a headband on. There's all these movies where these girls are doing these crazy stuff and they have their hair down, and it drives me crazy. I'm like, put your hair up, get it out of your face.
Yeah.
And no girl has a hair tie, but Rambo has he makes a headband, and then it made it iconic because then Gizmo wears one in Gremlins.
Gremlins 2.
Sorry.
New batch.
Okay, calm down. And
Dexter
then
said that too.
I know. Dexter was wrong. He got beat for it. And then there's another. Oh, and then in Hot Shots Part 2, he wears one. So like kind of made it like if you're really gonna fight someone, you put a headband on.
Yeah. Karate Kid.
That's right. His doesn't dangle.
All right, Chelsea, final thoughts for
I had
First
so many
Blood.
things I wanted to talk about, but
which by the way, we do have an extra segment here in a second, but first, Chelsea, final thoughts.
Okay, real quick, I want to say that Jerry Goldsmith did the music. He also did Rambo 2 and 3. He scored Alien, the first Alien. He did Chinatown. He also did 7 episodes of The Twilight Zone, including The Invaders, which is one of your favorite ones.
Yep.
He did Patton, Planet of the Apes, Star Trek, and Looney Tunes Back in Action. So we're talking about a real killer guy here. Total Recall, Secret of NIMH, Gremlins 1 and 2. So we didn't get to talk about the music, but I always love to talk about that. And that was Jerry Goldsmith. So if you get a chance to listen to any Jerry Goldsmith, do it.
Yeah. Jerry Goldsmith is one of Ryan Elder's favorite composers. Ryan Elder.
Of Rick and Morty fame.
Rick and Morty fame. And Boss Baby, the series on Netflix.
Nice.
Yeah.
The main theme is called "It's a Long Road" that Jerry Goldsmith does. It's sung by Dan Hill. What are you gonna laugh about?
That song.
It's a Long Road.
Yeah, it's like
it's sung by the guy who does "Sometimes When We Touch."
I was inadvertently killing a cop, and then I blew up this town.
I just wanted a sandwich.
It's a long road. It's
but
just cheesy as shit.
Michael Westmore did he created the makeup for it, and he was on one of our favorite shows. I mean, he wasn't on it, but like a little bit. Sometimes he was on Face Off.
Mackenzie Westmore.
Mackenzie Westmore's daughter hosted it.
Yeah.
Andrew Laszlo was the cinematographer. He did The Warriors, and he also served in World War II, so he was a good cinematographer for the Rambo movies.
Yeah. This is the second time we talked about the Warriors. The last time we talked about Warriors,
I know I said
Aliens.
it Warrior last time. That was wrong. I meant the Warriors.
Well, Walter Hill, who co-wrote Aliens,
he
or produced it,
and he wrote or he produced the Warriors.
He directed the Warriors.
He directed the Warriors. Yeah. Okay, and then Frank J. I'm gonna call him Uriasti. He was the editor, and he did Die Hard and Total Recall and RoboCop. So
a lot of action.
Yeah, we got a lot of action, extra cast and crew on this film that I think is really interesting.
Yeah. The last thing I want to say about First Blood, Rambo : First Blood, is that I think Rambo 3 used to be my favorite, other than him being, complicit in 9/11 essentially by bringing weapons to the Taliban.
Gosh, guess I need to rewatch.
Yeah, he essentially helps the Taliban win against Russia. But it used to be Rambo 3 just from the action standpoint. But as far as story goes and writing and messaging, like this one became my favorite because it became a movie about something versus just like patriotism.
It's a movie about something.
Yeah. Okay.
So if you care at all about people and the world and the America, you'll go to wwf.s.org and give a couple of dollars to our Wounded
family.
Warriors family support.
To Delmar's family. Okay, so this is the first time we're bringing up this segment on this show. It is the official. What did Chelsea forget last time she wanted to talk about stuff?
I wish you had told me we were going to do this so that
You told me you wanted to do this.
I said we should, but I didn't know we were gonna.
Okay, what did you want to talk about? Just bring something up from the past that you wanted to talk about.
Okay, well, the last episode we talked about falling down.
And that's it. We'll see you guys later.
The end. I forgot to mention that Barbara Hershey had at one point changed her name to Barbara Siegel because she was on a movie where a seagull died and she felt connected to it and she maybe felt like that was her spirit animal. So she changed her name to Barbara Siegel. I forgot to mention that. On a different...
But her name is Barbara Hershey because she changed it back.
She did. She was like, fuck that seagull.
There's so much work involved in like changing your name one time and then changing it again.
Even if we got divorced, I would just stay Cruz forever because I'm not about to go to any kind of office.
Yeah, true that.
Yes. I said we should have a segment where it's like Chelsea forgot to say this last time. And so I have only two things. That was one, the Barbara Siegel, which I'm going to change my name to. And two is, what was my other one, honey?
I don't remember.
Okay. Well,
we'll save that for next
all we have.
All right. So
things I forgot to, when I forgot and I forgot to forget.
that's our next clip, next segment on the next episode. All right. So.
Okay. But if I remember it, I'm going to yell it out.
Thank you all for listening to this episode, talking about First Blood. If you want to send us some comments, again, go over to Instagram, Our Real Relationships.
Oh, I remember.
Let me finish this first.
Do it.
Then Bluesky, Our Real Relations pod, and then email Our Real Relationships, REEL@gmail.com, or leave a comment on YouTube. And if you're Robert, I will respond in 2 to 3 weeks.
That's average.
And then give us a rating if you like the show. Even if you don't like the show,
tell us why and we'll fix it.
Yeah.
I'm a people pleaser.
We can't fix it if we don't know what the issue is, and we're in a vacuum here, the literal vacuum.
Yeah.
There's no
like
air.
in Aliens.
Yeah.
That was my other thing, is that every Alien movie has a different composer.
Right.
I thought they had a different director for every Alien movie, but no, they had a different composer, which I think is very interesting because you have to make it sound like the original, but add your own spin, but make it sound like the same. I don't know. I just think that's interesting. I love a composer. Okay.
I agree. And it is interesting. Just like every episode is a new movie, every movie had a different composer.
Wait, what are we going to talk about next week? Do you remember?
Yes, we are. So the movie we're going to talk about next week is the Bob and Tom movie. No, the movie featuring Bob Odenkirk from Mr. Show with Bob and Tom, called Nobody.
That's right. In honor of my brother-in-law, who's a former Marine. He did his tours for sure. Brian, and he said his favorite movie is Nobody, so we're going to watch that. We're not going to talk to him about it, but we're going to watch it.
Nope, he's not going to be on the episode.
He don't want to.
The first episode that we have a guest.
He said, I've been to war. I can't handle your podcast.
I like Nobody. I haven't seen the movie. I just like the title.
What do you like? Nobody. Oh, that movie. Okay, cool.
All right. Well, until next time, everybody. I am Brandon.
Breathe deep. I'm Chelsea. Take a deep breath. Move your neck to the right. Move your neck to the left. Unclench your jaw.